can't fade you, boy.
Hey, what is up, guys? My name is Daniel, and today I am here with a $1,300 gaming PC build. Now, this is value-wise a relatively good range. I did include, just for reference, an Asus GeForce GTX 780 video card in this build, so you'll be running games at 1080p ultra settings like BioShock Infinite, Battlefield 4, even Crisis at, high settings, things like that. So you won't have a problem with 1080p gaming. You can even do 1440p gaming just fine with this, even at like very high settings or ultra settings, 1080p. So yeah, I did actually get requested to do this build by somebody. So yeah, I'm doing it right now. Okay. For the CPU, I'm with the AMD FX 8350 4GHz 8-core processor. This is $190 right now and is a beast of a CPU. This will support most graphics cards. Honestly, I see a lot of people that will say, just because this CPU is only $190, it won't support cards like the 780 Ti or like a Titan Black or whatever else. It will, just fine. For gaming, you really don't need more than this. I mean, you could bump it up to like a i7 4930K or something like that if you wanted to, but I don't really think it's worth the money, and I was going for $1,300 in this build specifically. So yeah, for the CPU cooler on the Noctua NH-D14 65 CFM CPU cooler, this is $71.99. Now this CPU cooler will cool a little bit better than, like a Hyper 212 Evo or something would, but it's not going to be as good as like an H100i or anything. Although a lot of people use this CPU cooler just if they want silence in their build, because this is super quiet. Noctua fans are known to be great for airflow and also super quiet, and this is a CPU cooler with Noctua fans, obviously. This is the NH-D14. It does actually have two fans, so for an air cooler, it is pretty good. But being that our CPU is already at 4 GHz, I wouldn't recommend overclocking, although this CPU cooler will keep our CPU nice and cool under gaming load or even editing load. If you want to do editing in this build, you can. Being that the GTX 780 has great CUDA support, if your application that you're going to be using has CUDA. Whatever. Moving on to the motherboard, I went with the Asus M5A99FX Pro R2.0 ATX AM3 Plus motherboard. Right now, this is a $20 mail-in rebate, making it $115. Now, the reason I went with this instead of the Evo board like I usually do is because it has a $20 mail-in rebate and the Evo board does not. So the Evo board's only $5 less than this, and this has, better overclocking features and things like that. But as I said, you won't really be overclocking in this build anyway. But if you really do want to overclock later, or even now, honestly, you can do a little bit of overclocking with the CPU cooler we have in this build. So it all depends. You do have the option to overclock if you really want to. For the memory on the G.Skill Ripjaws X series, 8GB, which is 2 sticks of 4GB, DDR3, 1866 MHz memory. This is $85 right now and is some beast RAM. I do like G.Skill a lot, especially since recently they've had great prices on their RAM and they've gone up in popularity a lot. My brother actually has some G.Skill RAM. He's never had a problem with it. And the cast latency on this is 9, just in case you were wondering. Yeah, enough said. For the storage, I'm with the Western Digital Caviar Blue 1TB, 7200 RPM internal hard drive. This is $58 right now and is a beast hard drive. Now, this is meant to store all of your movies, music, pictures, things like that. But I did also go with an SSD to store your main applications and games, which is the Samsung 840 Pro Series, 128GB solid state disk. This is $115 right now and is a super fast and super popular SSD. Now, I actually have a huge Steam library and just a huge game library in general, so I don't think I'll be able to fit all of my games on this SSD, but depending on how big your library is, or depending on how big you're going to make it, this might be fine, I don't know, but I would just recommend storing your main games that you have on this. If you play Battlefield 4 a lot, store that on here. Counter-Strike, if you play a lot of League of Legends, put that on here, stuff like that. So yeah, for the video card, as I said earlier, I own the Asus GeForce GTX 780 3GB video card. This is $515.19 right now. I do like Asus simply because they have some like insanely awesome heat pipes in their graphics cards and just good coolers in general. So it doesn't get too loud. It's a relatively quiet video card, simply because of just the heat spreaders, and not the heat spreaders, but the heat sink, I guess, and the heat pipes in this thing are like tanks. Just if you're gonna make this build, just like take a look at those heat pipes. They're huge. So anyways, moving on to the case. With the NZXT H440 ATX mid-tower case. This is $120, and I like this case a lot for a couple of reasons. It looks super awesome, and I do actually like the white look. Generally, I don't like white cases a lot. I don't really like the look of them, but this one I really am liking. I don't know why. Also, the other reason that I like this is because it has no optical bays, which is super awesome. So you get a lot more cable management room to work with, which I'm terrible at cable management, so that's a big help. And yeah, besides that, this case is just really good looking. Build quality is phenomenal. It's made out of like 95% steel, which is pretty cool. And the power supply, I went with the Corsair CXM600, 600 watt, 80 plus bronze certified, semi-modular ATX power supply. Right now, this has a $20 mail-in rebate, making it $50. You can go with like, I don't know, a 600 watt, 80 plus gold power supply from Seasonic or something like that if you want to. But I just wanted to save a few dollars just to, you know, cram the GTX 780 in this build and things like that. So yeah, it's not a terrible power supply. It's not like an Antec no-name power supply that's just gonna kill your build within a month. It's a pretty reputable power supply, and it will last you a long time. So yeah, like this video if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new here. I post content every other day. Thanks for watching, and peace.